It's time to start talking about the Jordan Love MVP campaign, because if the Packers steal the 1 seed, Jordan Love is going to be the MVP. And for the Packers to steal the 1 seed, Love is going to have to be the MVP.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet. And the show for fans who know what happened, they want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Jordan Love right now has the statistical profile of an MVP. If you go back in history, the MVP usually over the last 15 or so years leads the league in EPA per play. Whether you like that stat or not, that's just usually the case. A lot of voters, by the way, do like, care, and vote on that stat. Do you know who currently leads the NFL in EPA per play? Mr. Jordan Love. He's second in total EPA, first in passing EPA, 9th in success rate, 3rd in completion percentage above expectation. In a clean pocket, leads the league in EPA, 2nd in clean pocket efficiency, success rate. And without the help of easy buttons, play action, he is 3rd in play action. Here's the stat I like even better. Okay. On 3rd and 4th down, so on late downs this year, Jordan Love, 1st in success rate, EPA per play, adjusted EPA per play, and EPA per play plus completion percentage above expectation among qualifying quarterbacks. This is the best 3rd down offense because of Jordan Love and exclusively, frankly, because of Jordan Love. The reason he wouldn't win the award is because he was one of the favorites to win the award before the season. And they had some swoons offensively. The Browns game, the Panthers game, the Eagles game. But what happens is over time, everyone swoons. Everyone has a couple games. The Patrick Mahomes has been really good this year. Guess what? He's not going to win enough games with that team to be in the conversation. He's just not. Now, Drake May, certainly going to have a case. And I think when we get to the end of the season, when you combine the record, the excitement about his play, all that stuff, he's going to have a really compelling case. Matthew Stafford is still technically the favorite, according to our friends at FanDuel, but they're neck and neck right now. And we're recording this as the Patriots game is happening. So let's, understand if he goes out and has 5 touchdowns or he goes out and throws 3 interceptions, that's going to matter too. Right now, Dak Prescott is the only other quarterback that stands between Jordan Love and the top of this list. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to win enough games. You can't be a 10-win team and win MVP, not this year. Not when Matthew Stafford's Rams are probably going to win 12 or 13 games. Not when the Packers have a chance to win 12 or 13 games. And this is the rub. If the Packers end up as the 1 seed, like they were predicted to be coming into the year by a lot of people, they would probably have to win out. And what has to happen, we talked about this yesterday, the Rams and the Seahawks each need to lose a game. That's that pesky tie. If the Packers had just beat the Cowboys, this would all be much more straightforward. But they didn't. By the way, no fault of Jordan Love. He scored 40 points in that game. In order for the Packers to steal the 1 seed, they're going to have to win out. In order to win out, this running game is not good enough to win them 5 games. It's not good enough to win them 2 games. And the defense might be good enough to beat the Vikings, might be good enough to beat the Bears once, frankly, might be good enough to beat the Broncos, which with the way Bo Nix has played the first 3 quarters of most of his games this year. But you want to beat the Bears twice. You want to beat the Ravens, who are not looking like they're any great shakes right now. I think if you ask me today, the Packers would probably be 4 or 5 point favorites against the Ravens right now at home. Doesn't mean they're going to win. But if you're going to win 5 straight games to close your season, and you get to that 13-3-1, and you steal that 1 seed, Jordan Love is going to have the most compelling case in the NFC because Matthew Stafford will have gacked away the 1 seed, and he started the gacking on Sunday in Carolina. It's hard to blame Jordan Love for losing to Carolina when it was his defense that cost them that game at the end. And it was Matthew Stafford who cost his team 2 interceptions, a pick 6, and the decisive fumble to seal the game. Can't really blame Jordan Love for that Carolina game if you're not going to also hang that Carolina game on Matthew Stafford. If the Packers win 13 games, sweep the Bears, who, by the way, right now are the number 1 seed in the NFC. Plenty more on the Bears to come in this episode. Don't worry. They will have the best team case in the NFC, and Jordan Love will have had to carry them there. There will have had to be clutch plays made late. There will have had to be a number of 3rd downs converted, red zone passes made, big plays created. And let's just look at the trend lines here. Against the Steelers, he has arguably, and I argued, the best game of his career given the context. A couple weeks later, he has his highest graded game of his career against the New York Giants. And shortly thereafter, he has a spectacular game in Detroit against one of the best defenses in the NFL, against a rising star defensive coordinator coach who is going to be a head coach probably sooner than later. And the Packers sweep the Lions, all but end their playoff hopes. They now have they're underwater playoff hopes wise. All the models have them in that like 30 to 40% range now. Those are big, big wins. They have the marquee game on Sunday. The marquee game. The week after, they're going to have one of the marquee games. They could be the number 1 seed. They could be going to Denver, who's going to be a top 2 seed regardless. In Denver. You go beat Denver in Denver after you beat the Bears at home. You have now set yourself, this is a narrative award, on a trajectory. He is playing outstanding football, and there's no one else on the team you can point to. No stud receiver who makes life easier. No stud running back who makes life easier. I think one of the reasons Lamar Jackson did not win last year is because Derrick Henry had his own case to be MVP. Josh Jacobs, a really good player. He was excellent last year. He's not in that same stratosphere of player. If the Packers win 13 games and get the 1 seed, Jordan Love is going to be MVP because in order for the Packers to win 13 games and get the 1 seed, Jordan Love will have to be the MVP. He will have to play like the MVP. And it starts this weekend with the Chicago Bears. This run, we've seen him get hot like this before. In 2023, in the second half of that year, he played like the best quarterback in the NFL. This year, by any metric you want to use, he's a top 5 quarterback. Top 5. I understand Joe Burrow's been hurt. Josh Allen has not been to his level. Lamar Jackson has been hurt. Patrick Mahomes. They're not winning games. He's been playing great for the most part. He also threw a pick 6 against the Jaguars that cost them that game. Jordan Love doesn't have a game like that. Now, if he has a game like that, okay, case closed and end of story. The Packers are going to have to, in all likelihood, going to have to win out to get that top seed. But if he plays like the MVP the last 5 games, he will win the MVP. These marquee games are what it's all about. 3 marquee games in a row. And you could really add the Ravens game because they're going to be fighting for their lives. That's going to be a big story. He's going to have his opportunities. He's going to have his opportunities. He's got to take advantage, and the Packers have to take advantage. This team can go steal the NFC, not just in the regular season, but in the playoffs. And the version of Jordan Love that we're seeing right now, a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the NFL. Look at the Pro Football Focus numbers. You want to add, EPA per play. EPA man is the nickname that Bears fans and Lions fans and Vikings fans have given Jordan Love. Okay. He's the 3rd highest graded quarterback according to Pro Football Focus. What else do you need to see? What else do you need to see? All right, I want to talk about a key matchup in Packers Bears. We'll do that next. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly. Plus player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility, or maybe locked on, right? So if you want to get in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live NFL bets all season long. The Packers back up to 6.5-point favorites. It opened at 6.5, went to 5.5. It's now back at 6.5. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. One way teams have decided to attack the Packers defensively: run the ball, which the Bears are the best rush team in the NFL right now. 150 yards a game. They are gashing teams on the ground. And quick passes, because the Packers are content to let you matriculate the ball down the field. 10, 12, 14 play drives. Well, the best way to do that against this pass rush, Micah Parsons and company, even without Devontae Wyatt, is the quick game. Ball coming out quick or checking the ball down. Well, Caleb Williams is 26th out of 28 qualifying quarterbacks in the percentage of his throws that happen in 2.5 seconds or less. They hunt explosives. The Packers, one of the best defenses in the NFL, not allowing explosives. Now, the Packers, vulnerable in the middle of the field. The Lions showed that last week. The Bears throw almost exclusively to the middle of the field. So there is a little bit of a strength on strength approach here. But the passing game, Ben Johnson, don't take my word for it. You want to call me a homer? If you're a Bears fan listening, hi, thank you for listening. The check's going to clear. Ben Johnson said they're winning in spite of their passing game. It's not good enough. They've talked about it, and they're going to try and improve it. It's not good enough right now for the Bears. For them to be a championship caliber team, the passing game is not good enough. And one of the reasons is their quick game stinks. So can you limit explosive plays if you're this Packers defense, especially on the ground? Because if you can use the ground game as your quick passing game, then you don't need to quick pass. The Bears never needed the quick, I wouldn't say never, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. You're probably not running the ball. Now the Lions did. Ben Johnson might against this Packers pass rush. But the quick game has been the Packers' antidote for a lot of 3rd and medium, 3rd and medium, 3rd and 4, 5, 6. And the Packers have been one of the best teams in the NFL this year at converting third downs because they're consistently in the shortest third downs in the NFL. In fact, only the Rams are in shorter third downs on average than the Packers. But the Packers, it's quick game, it's quick outs, it's stop routes, it's those kinds of things. Well, that's where this offense is just not clicking. Rome Odunze is supposed to be the #1 receiver on this team. Something like 45% of his passes thrown to him, have been deemed uncatchable. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Not against the Packers. Unless this just turns into the 2019 NFC Championship game, and I don't see that happening. The linebackers flow too well. There's too much speed on this defense. Evan Williams has been playing too well, and maybe they're going to try and use Evan Williams' aggressiveness against him. More play action. But then that's encouraging Caleb Williams to hold the ball more. That's going to be more opportunities for guys like Micah Parsons to get home. You want to wad up the protection and get into these heavy play action looks and try and get Colston Loveland over the middle of the field. Okay, well, that brings Edgerrin Cooper into play. That brings Avery McKinney into play. That brings Evan Williams into play. And the longer you hold the ball, Caleb Williams actually holding the ball longer this year. The longer you hold the ball, the more time you're giving Micah Parsons to win his rep. And how often have we seen Parsons doubled, even triple teamed, and he finds a way to create late pressure? And what the Packers did against the Lions last week, I think, is instructive because they didn't do a lot of blitzing necessarily. They did send some 5-man pressures, but they showed all-out pressure. And then they sent 4 or they sent 5, but you had to figure out where they were coming from. And then here's a loop. Here's Micah Parsons going all the way around. Or Rashawn Gary and Devontae Wyatt. Now, I know Devontae Wyatt's not going to play, but Warren Brinson can move well enough to make some of those stunts work. Make this offensive line sort that stuff out. If there are 2 legs to that chair of defensive attacking by opponents, the Bears are just not good at one of those things. Now, if the run game can be good enough that it doesn't matter, you're going to struggle. The other thing for the Packers is in that if it's a 3-legged stool, so to speak, it's the run game, control the clock, it's quick passes, and it's you got to create that extra turnover. Don't let the Packers get that turnover. Don't give the ball away to them, but create. You got to be plus. Well, the Bears are plus 17 in turnovers this year. No other team is better than plus 9. Now, if I were someone who are inclined toward the data, I would say that sort of outlier behavior is not going to last. That is going to regress to the mean. They're not going to keep winning the turnover battle so decisively over and over. And who knows if Nishan Wright doesn't pull the ball away from Jalen Hurts, or if the play is ruled dead, as I think it probably should have been. Maybe the Eagles win that game for as poorly as they played. The Bears turn that into points, and that ends up being a bridge too far for this Eagles offense. Now, the Eagles offense not playing nearly as well right now as this Green Bay Packers offense, and this Bears defense. They're playing better, but they're creating turnovers. That's the difference in what's happening with this Bears defense right now. And when the Packers have played teams that have a defense as leaky as this Bears team is, and that can't rush the passer more effectively than the Bears can, they have scored a lot of points. We'll talk about it next on Locked On Packers. The holidays are officially here, which means gift hunting season is on. And if you want something meaningful, personal, and guaranteed to get a reaction, Aura Frames is the gift that delivers every time. It's not just something you wrap, it's a way to share memories. Because Aura isn't your average picture frame. You can preload the frame with photos before gifting it, so when they plug it in, the memories are already there. No apps to figure out, no setup headaches, just instant smiles. This is a great gift for grandparents. For great-grandparents, I got my grandma one, and she loves it. She will randomly send me texts. She's in her mid-90s. She's got, I think she has 12 or 14 great-grandkids, maybe more now. And she loves seeing their pictures pop up. I can add them from here. I don't have to be there to do it. She doesn't have to do it. I can do it for her. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named number 1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code LOCKEDON at checkout. The auraframes.com, promo code LOCKEDON. This deal is exclusive to listeners, and the frames, listen, they will sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. How much do the Chicago Bears rely on turnovers defensively? The answer, a crap load. That is the scientific phrase. They are 18th in EPA per dropback defensively overall. So average to slightly below average defense against the pass. I understand no Jalen Johnson for most of the year. That's a big reason why. If you exclude turnovers, where I mentioned they do that a lot, the Bears are 30th in EPA per dropback. 30th. Okay? Not great, Bob. Down to down, play to play, this is not a good defense. In fact, if you exclude turnovers overall, this defense is 30th. 30th. With the turnovers, they're, look, 30th out of 32 teams in yards per play. That's even, turnovers count in the yards per play. If you exclude the turnovers, they're 19th overall in EPA per play. The Packers, after Sunday, will have played all 5 teams at the bottom of the league in yards per play in the NFL. The Bears averaging over 6 yards per play. That means 2 yards or 2 plays, and it's a first down. Against those teams, the Packers have scored 27, 27, 40, and 27 points. If you do not turn the ball over, you will score points against the Chicago Bears. The Steelers, with Mason Rudolph, scored 28 points. Now, 21 of them were offensive points. They got a defensive touchdown as well. But if Mason Rudolph is scoring 21, what is Jordan Love, the potential MVP of the league, going to do? The Packers, for context here, are 5th in the NFL in yards per play, 4.7. So significantly better on a per play basis. Turnovers, it seems overly reductive. But turnovers are everything in these games. If you don't turn it over against the Bears, you will move the ball and you will score. It's just not a good defense. They don't rush the passer effectively. They don't do anything that interesting on the back end. They have some guys who are really good at making plays on the ball. Kevin Byard, great diving interception against the Eagles. I mentioned the right fumble, forced fumble. That was a borderline play anyway. Just don't do those things. Don't give them extra possessions, especially if this is going to be one of those grinded out kind of games where you only get 7 or 8 in the game. Now, even then, I like Green Bay's matchup. The Packers have a better offense and a better defense. Like, there's a reason you're almost a touchdown favorite at home against this Bears team. But turnovers are the great equalizer. That is a cliche because it's true. There's a great line in The Diplomat on Netflix about things that sound true. And they sound true because they're true. So that's one of those things. It sounds important because it is. And it sounds reductive because it is, but it's also true. Against the Panthers, it wasn't really the turnovers that sunk Green Bay. They got a little greedy on the deep ball to Christian Watson. But I'm not that worried about a play like that. Trying to take a shot play, arm punt, I understand on early downs, you'd rather not. Jordan Love is playing so much better now than he was then. And we're talking about a guy who has 3 interceptions on the season. I understand there's one was dropped in the end zone, and that was big and loud and went all over social media. But this is also not a team that's going to play sticky man coverage. This is primarily a zone team, quarters. They play a bunch of 2 high coverage. They're going to dare you to run the ball. Jordan Love's going to have to be patient, but they're also going to have to find ways to attack this team. Now, Matt LaFleur in his career has been excellent at attacking Dennis Allen's styles of defense. We've seen it 2020, 2019, less so in 2021. But we've seen them effectively attack Dennis Allen defenses in the past. Find ways to scheme up shot plays. His game plan against the Lions was masterful. Double moves, aggressive, all that stuff. Now, you're going to have to be a little bit more patient. That can't translate to conservative. You have to find that line of patient. Not conservative, patient. If the Packers can find that balance, there are going to be open guys in this secondary. And there have been games where they played good offenses. They beat the Cowboys. Dak Prescott did not play well in that game. 2 interceptions. There's your game. Just don't do that. Don't turn the ball over. Now, I understand that's easier said than done against the best defense in the NFL at creating turnovers. But when you live on turnovers that way, if an offense can stay patient, Mason Rudolph, it has been proven you're going to move the ball and you're going to score on this team. They just don't have the guys. They don't have the pass rusher. They traded for Montez Sweat to be that missing link. They signed Dayo Adebingo to be an impact pass rusher. He got hurt. Montez Sweat has not been that guy. Would they have been smarter, drafting a defensive player instead of Colston Loveland? Maybe. Colston Loveland's a hell of a player. You have to find the line of patient versus conservative. Against the Eagles, the Packers couldn't do it. And by the way, the Eagles' game plan looks a little different in the light of day a couple weeks on, because what did the Bears do to the Eagles? They ran it down their throats. The Packers just were not able to execute well enough. And what Matt LaFleur has to be able to do is say, okay, we want to run the ball, get them out of these 2 high looks, and see what we can do. If the run game's not working, you got to find your answers. You got to stay aggressive. You got to empower Jordan Love to just go hoop. Because against the Lions on Thanksgiving, that boy was hooping. So keep the momentum up. Keep the confidence up. Come out aggressive. Take the ball. Go score. Get this team in a situation. Exactly what we talked about last week. Your best run defense can be your offense. And this Bears defense is vulnerable. I'm telling you all week, I'm gonna harp on it and harp on it and harp on it. I am very confident in this team against this Bears football team because the matchups favor Green Bay so heavily. Specific matchups. Doesn't mean they're going to win. Doesn't guarantee victory. But the matchups certainly support Green Bay. And if they don't come in pissed off, if they don't watch that Ben Johnson shirtless celebration in every meeting, that team acted like they won the Super Bowl last week when they beat the Philadelphia Eagles. How often does a team look a little too good one week and come back and have to follow it up, a young team, and lay an egg? Now, the Packers don't need the Bears to lay an egg to beat them. I'm just saying that is something that is very realistic in terms of the probabilities out there. So for the Packers, you have to be able to defend the run, but the short passing game is not going to be there, by and large, for the Bears, unless Caleb Williams just starts playing a different game. We talked yesterday about the sacks. You have to be able to finish them. At some point, the outlier stuff from Caleb is going to regress. At some point, the turnover stuff is going to regress. But you got to force the issue. You got to play well enough that regression hits, and you beat this team. All right, Lily Zhao coming up tomorrow on Locked On Packers. We've got a crossover Thursday coming with Lauren Cox from Locked On Bears. So much more here as we get you ready for the marquee matchup of a loaded slate of games here this weekend, first weekend in December, when you start to learn a lot about where these teams are in the NFL hierarchy. Follow me on the social medias. Follow the podcast on the socials. We've got a squad show for you tomorrow night. Locked On Packers. Subscribe on YouTube, 7 p.m. Lambeau time on Wednesday. So be there, be ready for all of that, and you can stay Locked On Packers.